Good morning, sir.
Hello.
You're Kirk Edwin Jensen? Yes. You got a ticket for no valid operator's license. No license in possession, and I don't think you can actually be convicted of both of those. It's either or. And no proof of insurance.
Strap in, because what starts as a routine court appearance takes a dramatic turn from the jump. The judge, steady and composed, lists off 3 overlapping charges: driving without a valid license, not having one on hand, and failing to show proof of insurance. Seems straightforward, until the defendant immediately pushes back. In less than 40 seconds, the air shifts. What could have been a mundane traffic citation suddenly feels like a courtroom showdown. The man isn't just disputing a ticket, he's challenging the very foundation of the charges. Instantly, the room crackles with tension, and we realize this won't be your average hearing.
Mr. Marvin said he spoke with you. You don't wish to enter a plea of guilty, which is your right, but you don't wish me to appoint an attorney. Can we just set this for a bench trial?
Or have it's either that or a jury trial, is that what you're saying?
Yes. You have a right to have well, let me ask you this. You don't want me to appoint an attorney. Do you wish to hire one?
No, I really don't even want to contract with the Crown Corporation here. This has really turned into a religious persecution issue because, and I'm sure you can see, I canceled that driver's license 13 years ago because I didn't want to have that contract any longer. And I wanted to get out of that system and be completely separate. So I went with a different government altogether, with a different issuing authority. And I have documentation in the form of an international driving permit, which Mr. Marvin acknowledged he is aware of because he said he used to have one. So he knows about them, and that's what I had when I presented it to the officer. For whatever reason, the officer thinks it's not valid or that it's fraudulent.
Then comes a curveball that leaves jaws hanging. The defendant claims he's being persecuted for his religious beliefs, saying he gave up his state-issued license over a decade ago. Instead, he travels under an international permit from a completely different authority. The judge visibly recalibrates, trying to process the depth of this declaration. In just 47 seconds, the proceeding morphs from a legal issue into a philosophical confrontation. You can almost hear the silence tighten around every word. What's typically a formality becomes a riveting clash of belief versus bureaucracy.
And that is his choice to decide that. But the charge of not having any driver's license on me is not true because I did have it on me.
Do you have it with you today?
No, he has it.
Who has it?
The Officer Brooks, who took it from me. I have an international driving permit and a passport that was issued by a different governing authority than the United States. And for whatever reason, they're choosing not to acknowledge it. But it already has been.
Well, that's an interesting defense. Now, we've been struggling with international driver's licenses. And for one issue, you have to be in the country legally. So we've got a number of Mexican people that have Mexican driver's license from Michoacan or Jalisco or one of the Mexican states. But if they're not here legally, it doesn't matter. You're obviously here legally. You were born a citizen. You may have.
I have changed my nationality is what I've done.
Where's your passport from?
It's issued by the government of the United States of America. It's not a blue passport. It's a different colored passport than that. Mr. Marvin says that there's no such thing as that, and that's fine if he wants to choose to do that. But I have had no issue. I have had no issue from anyone or anything using that. Granted, I have not gone to the country with that yet. I have not had the means to do so.
Good luck.
But
You go
either
out,
way,
good luck trying to get back in. My
Right.
advice is don't do that.
Mhm.
You'll be a man with no country. So
Well,
don't leave the country, but you're here.
Mhm. Yeah, like I said, according to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, I have a right to change my nationality, and the Crown Corporation here is trying to deny me that nationality.
And he's not done. Doubling down, the defendant insists he's renounced his U.S. citizenship altogether, invoking the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and presenting a passport from an alternative government. The judge responds with a mix of curiosity and incredulity, carefully picking apart the maze of international law and sovereignty claims. These 78 seconds feel like the courtroom is suspended in time. It's no longer about paperwork. It's about identity, freedom, and the boundaries of law itself. The stakes rise sharply, and the atmosphere pulses with the weight of ideology meeting institutional order.
Which really falls under a religious persecution issue here, because I don't want to have any more dealings with the Crown Corporation. And so
I don't know what universe you're from, but there is no Crown Corporation. This is the state of Michigan. And in the state of Michigan, you have to have a driver's license. You may have one. Your operator's license, you're right, is canceled. I don't know if I've ever seen that before.
I cut it up and I sent it back to the Secretary of State 13 years ago. I did not want to have that contract any longer.
But you got convicted in Niles in 2019 of no ops. You failed to appear. They defaulted you, I guess. But yeah, they've got your old driver's license picture in here. But yeah, you don't want to have a bad.
Just as the drama peaks, the judge strikes with a revelation that blindsides the room. A 2019 conviction for a similar offense in Niles. Suddenly, the confident defiance on the defendant's face begins to crack. You can actually see the moment. The past catches up to him, like a ghost pulled into the present. In a mere 24 seconds, what felt like an empowered resistance stumbles into a personal reckoning. The courtroom isn't just a stage for argument. It's a mirror, and sometimes, what it reflects back hits harder than any sentence.
Record. There's no speeding, seatbelt.
I'm not a bad guy. I just want to get around
here
differently.
You were
than,
here on May 11th.
Correct.
And you wanted the complaint dismissed. You told me that you had an license canceled and lien. So I set it for the pretrial, which is what we just did. All right. Now I got a concern that the officer has your license.
Yeah, he still has it. He doesn't. I don't know why he hasn't given it back to me yet.
Well, I can't. I want to see it. All right. So Mr. Marvin says we haven't reached a settlement. You believe you have a defense. You don't want to have an attorney. So the question becomes, we set it for a trial. And do we set it for a trial in front of the judge, or do you wish to have a jury come in and hear this?
I want to just plain have it settled, and whether it's with him and you.
Well, I don't have the authority to settle it. He does. I can set it for what's called a last pretrial before a jury trial. And I will get your international. This may be more of a legal issue than a factual issue. You were driving.
With the emotional dust still settling, the judge moves to strategy mode, laying out the groundwork for a pretrial clash. It's time to exchange evidence and decide, will this play out in front of a jury or stay within the judge's gavel grip? Every word carries legal gravity as both sides quietly prepare for a procedural chess match. The international permit, now impounded, hangs over the room like a lit fuse. In these charged seconds, the court transforms into a command center, where even a single document could flip the outcome.
A valid international license? I don't know. There's no. Now, the prosecutor has the police report. I don't.
The other thing that I failed to mention was that I was also under contract while I was driving that. I was under a legal contract. And obviously that contract was impaired while I was trying to fulfill the obligations of that contract.
That's alternate universe stuff. There's no contract. The issue
No,
is,
I mean the owner of the vehicle. I had a contract with the owner of the vehicle. I was under contract to perform some services for the owner of the vehicle.
oh, okay, so, all right, that may be so,
Right.
but then you may need a CDL to do that.
Your Honor?
Yes?
I'm not sure. I haven't looked at that statute in like years, but doesn't an international license have to have a prerequisite of a valid license from some place before you can apply for that international
well,
license?
And I had
Yeah.
a national one too as well.
So I don't know.
I believe that's
we've
the
been-
prerequisite, but I
All
don't
right,
know.
well,
I
it
could
may be,
wrong.
but we've got a legal issue, and I don't even. He's got
I
a theory
understand.
that may have no basis or may have some basis.
It's
We
interesting.
have recently had a man from India
Hmm.
who tried to do everything right.
Right, I remember him.
And it's so cumbersome and difficult. And he really he was living here. He had a driver's license from India. He got an international driver's license. Or he had a New York license, and somewhere he forgot to dot an I or cross a T. All right, I'm going to set this for a last pretrial, but
And what does that mean?
means we're going to take one more effort at resolving this thing, but I
Okay.
need to see your evidence.
Okay. Well, I can tell you the Officer Brooks, he's the one that has it.
All right. An attorney could help you with the legal issues on this. You don't wish to have
No,
one?
I have other representation.
When you were here at your arraignment in May, you were very polite and respectful, and we don't agree on things, but let's take a closer look before I jump to any conclusions.
And I'll have a lot more evidence at
All right.
that time. Yeah.
And if it can be resolved, great. If it can't be, the question at that point will be, do we have a jury trial or do we have a bench trial? And one of the things about people like you that want to check out of our government and our system, they don't mind bringing in 30 of their fellow citizens to come in and hear their thing. The irony is, if I sent you a jury notice, you wouldn't show up. You would say, I don't contract with you and I won't participate in your system. But you don't have any compunction about dragging 30 other people in here to hear your case. So at this point, we haven't gotten that far.
Can we just decide that in 2 weeks?
Yes,
Okay.
certainly. So let's see, I want to get those documents from the sheriff's department, take a look at them.
Okay.
There may need to be some legal research done as well.
Mhm.
But you're putting the burden on them, which is how it sort of works.
Yeah.
They have the burden of proving it beyond a reasonable doubt. So you raise this defense and say, prove it's not right. Well, that isn't exactly how it works. You've got to show there's some merit to the defense. Key West used to offer passports to the Conch Republic. There was a little place there, and you could get a Conch Republic passport, and it looked like a real passport. And they shut them down. People were using them in other countries to show they had a Conch Republic quasi-American passport.
Mhm.
So there's all kinds of screwy passports out there.
And I understand that there's nefarious people who want to do things for nefarious purposes, and that's not me. I don't want to do anything for nefarious or evil purposes. I'm trying to be upright and righteous here in what I'm doing, and I'm just simply wanting to be separate according to my religious beliefs, and that's all this really boils down to.
All right, well, one option is don't drive a car. If you don't want to participate in it and you want to opt out of our system, don't drive. Have somebody else drive you or stay in one place. But if you want to use our public roadways and share the road with other people that are licensed, you can't just decide I live in an alternate universe and I don't have to obey the same rules that everybody else does. So one option is don't drive, and then you won't have to worry about it. But we'll see what we can figure out. We'll take another crack at this June 29th at 3 p.m. here, and I'll get those documents. If you have proof of insurance, bring it with you.
Okay.
All right, I'll see you then.
Okay.
Please subscribe to help the channel.
Finally, the judge doesn't mince words. Either stop driving or face the system in full force. Then comes the kicker. June 29th, 3 p.m., a date and time etched in legal stone. You can feel the countdown begin. It's no longer just about traffic laws or abstract rights. It's about a man's immediate future. The urgency is real, the tension razor sharp. Court dates aren't just administrative, they're life-altering chapters. And with that, the scene fades, but the story is far from over. If this breakdown hit home, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned, because this legal drama is just getting started.